Welcome to Excel Radio with Dr. Nick Zyrowski, where we talk with world-class entrepreneurs, executives, and health experts who have unlocked the secrets to excel health and performance.
Hi, this is Dr. Nick Zyrowski, your health and high performance expert. In this show, I'm going to be responding to questions that have been submitted on the New Vision Excel website. As you know, if you go to the podcast button on the website, you can submit a question, and then I'll respond to it on the podcast. So that's what I'm going to do today. We have a lot of really great questions. They are mostly pertaining to health. I think there might be a few business questions in there as well, but I'll respond to all of them. I figured that if one person has a question, then there's going to be so many more people who are thinking the same thing. And really, these are quite a few of them are really hot topics, such as should I follow a ketogenic diet or should I drink bulletproof coffee? So I'm going to respond to all the questions in this episode. All right, so let's go ahead and kick this off. So what I did is, just so this made sense and it flowed well, I put the questions in a particular order and tried to group them a little bit so that I wasn't jumping all over the place. So the first question is, what is your opinion on bulletproof coffee? So when people talk about bulletproof coffee, it's kind of funny because some people consider putting butter in the coffee a bulletproof coffee, and then other people consider buying the brand of bulletproof coffee a bulletproof coffee. So a bulletproof coffee, I'm going to just take it from the standpoint that you're buying any coffee and you're putting butter or coconut oil in it, right? So here's what I think of the whole coffee thing. So first of all, you can buy any good organic brand of coffee. I don't sell coffee, so I'm not going to sit and try to tell you a certain brand is going to be a game changer for you and another brand isn't. As long as it's a good quality organic brand of coffee, then you're fine, in my opinion. So a good quality organic coffee is good, and putting butter or coconut oil in, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a great way to start your day off with a high amount of fat. But when it comes to coffee, like, I know that people who have these different brands, they say it's a health food and it's going to change your life and it's, you need it every day. That's not necessarily the case, because coffee can actually negatively affect you if you have adrenal fatigue or some other things going on, some hormonal problems. So, there's a time and a place for everything. And a person who, is sick, they should not be, I wouldn't drink coffee if I had adrenal fatigue. And many people do have adrenal fatigue, and they use coffee just to keep them going because their adrenals are shot. So coffee is great for you if you're a good, healthy person and you're not suffering from adrenal fatigue. If your adrenals are shot, you might want to lay off the coffee for a little bit. But taking coffee, a good organic coffee, and putting butter, coconut oil in it, I think that's a great way to start off the morning with good fats and also your coffee. And so that's that question. That's what I have for you in that realm. The next question is, what is the best way to start your day with a lot of energy? Okay, well, if you talk about the bulletproof coffee and you're doing that, if you're taking coffee and putting butter in it, that will help you start your day off with a little caffeine, a high amount of fats in order to give you a lot of energy. But beyond that, let's say you're not a coffee drinker, right? Let's just talk about starting your day with a lot of energy. So, first of all, going to the Morning Multiplier podcast that I did is going to help you out a lot, because I really discuss this in depth. But, some of the things that you can do, such as like some meditation and some different foods you can eat. But I would say, when I read this question, the thing that I think of is, what you're going to eat in the morning to help you have a high energy day. And so for me, it's not a big breakfast. And for people who are high performing individuals, it's not some massive breakfast, because what happens when you eat a big breakfast is your body goes into this parasympathetic state that's called rest and digest. And when you're in this rest and digest state, then you're going to be tired. So if you wake up in the morning, you eat this massive breakfast, then there's a good chance that you're going to be a little groggy, a little bit tired. So my suggestion is, if you want to start your day off with a lot of energy from a food standpoint, which I think this is where this question is getting at, I would just do a nice light smoothie. So, some berries, some greens, a little coconut water, something like that, in order to just have something light, but that's just super, super energy packed. And then from there, you can have a big meal in the afternoon. Who knows? Maybe you'll even want to eat, an early lunch at 11:30. But if you really want to wake up in the morning, give your body a chance to, get going, have a smoothie, something that's not real heavy, something that isn't going to put your body in a parasympathetic resting state. And that way you can go through the whole morning and function at a higher level. The next question is, and this actually relates to what I just said. So I'm not a morning person. Any tips? I've listened to your Morning Multiplier podcast, but am I destined to be a morning bah humbug? They said. So, I think that anybody can be a morning person. Personally, it just takes time is what I found out. So let's say that you decide you're going to start getting up at 6 a.m. every morning when you kind of just roll out of bed whenever you feel like it. It just takes time. You just have to get into it. That's really all I can tell you. First of all, go back. You already said you listened to the Morning Multiplier podcast. Maybe you listen to it again, but I think anybody can be a morning person. You just have to get in the routine and you have to really hold yourself to it. Trying it once or twice is really not going to do it for you. It's something where it's like you do it for a week or two and then finally you can start getting up at that certain time and it doesn't really affect you. But it's something you have to work into. It's not one of the things where you just do it once and you're set from then on out. I know people who, let's say they're trying to grow their business and they needed, more time to just have alone and have thought-provoking periods of time during the day where they weren't getting bugged at all. So, if you listen to the podcast with Jason, it's like one of the first podcasts actually, he actually talks about when he was growing his business and he was actually in hard financial times, he started getting up at like 5 a.m. so that he knew that every single morning he would have a period of time where he could just think to himself. He had a family and everything else. He was in some tough times. And so he would just get up at 5 a.m. or whatever the time was. And then he knew he had like a guaranteed time slot during the day for, let's say, 4 or 5 hours before anybody was even out of bed, and he would just go to work during that time. He would think and he would write and he would do whatever he had to do, and now the guy's an absolute success. So I think you should just work on it, for as far as being a morning person. Try drinking a coffee as soon as you get up, get your coffee going, and give yourself time and work into it. So the next question is a business related question, and the person asked, what is the best business tip that you have to offer? And so I thought about this for a little bit because, there's a lot of really good business tips that I could offer. And there's a lot of really things that are really important when it goes into business, marketing and so on and so forth. But I'd say that something that I put a lot of effort into and a lot of time and thought process into it is customer service. And, customer service and really the experience that people have while dealing with one of my companies. And I think that that's one of the reasons that New Vision Health Center, New Vision Excel has grown like it has, because people have really good experiences when working with us, and so when they think of, themselves having a health problem, if they have a health problem down the road, or if they have a health question, they always come back to us, or they need some health related product, they come back to us because they were really happy with the service they offered them. And the way I look at it and the way that I think about this is that people can go anywhere to get a product. They can go anywhere to get information. They can go, they can go online, they can go to a store, whatever. And it always comes down to, why should they come to you? And they should come to you because not only do you offer excellent customer service, but you offer an excellent product. So as a consumer, as I'm shopping or whatever the case is, I always look at, why should I buy from them, or why should I come back to this place? Like, they didn't treat me good. They didn't answer my questions. I walked into the store, nobody was even available to talk to me. So, offer really good customer service, and patients, or not patients, but people and people who are searching for what you offer will come back again and again. And I think that's really the best tip I can offer for you. And, lastly, I guess, when I'm talking about customer service, I'm talking about the whole detail of the customer service experience, from, when a person first encounters you till they buy a product, till they receive the product in their hand, and also maybe a follow-up process after they received a product. So you want all those little details to be spot on and really offer an experience that people have not experienced before. Like, you want people to remember you, right? And you want them to come back. So like I said, there's a lot of detail in customer service, and there's a lot of thought process that I put into that. And I think that I can definitely, without a doubt, attribute that to the success of my companies. So the next question is a health-related question, and the person wrote, should I follow a ketogenic diet? Well, for those who don't know, a ketogenic diet is a high-fat, moderate protein, low carbohydrate diet. Now, I really think that everybody should follow a diet that looks like that to a certain extent. But if you're going to be on the ketogenic diet, that means that you're looking to put your body in a state of ketosis, which is like in a fat burning state. And the ketogenic diet can be very strict for most people. So it really depends. If you're able to follow that strict of a diet, then you could, by all means try it out, see how it works for you. Not everybody does very good on a ketogenic diet. Carbs do serve a purpose in the human body. So a lot of people will get on the ketogenic diet. They'll cut carbs out so much that it actually can negatively affect them. So you want to make sure that you're doing a carb day at some point when you're on the ketogenic diet. But it's something that's a lot of hype right now. The ketogenic diet, hypes come and go. And anybody who's been in the realm of healthcare knows that a lot of hypes come and go. And ketogenic diet is by all means a huge hype right now. And so, somebody had asked me, and they were like blown away when they found out that I didn't put everybody I come across on a ketogenic diet. And I said, no, it's just too unreasonable. I work with businessmen, executives. They're very busy people, a lot of entrepreneurs. They just don't have an immense amount of time to spend on their diet, and being on a ketogenic diet is very strict. And so, go ahead and do it if you're able to stick with it and follow it. But it's not necessary. You can have some good benefits from it by all means. And like I said, everybody should follow a diet that's close to the ketogenic diet. But being on a true ketogenic diet is very strict and just way too hard for a lot of people. And it's like putting people on something that you just know that they're going to crash on. And when somebody goes onto a diet, and this is a good point, that if somebody goes on a diet that's just too strict for them, they're going to crash, and they're probably going to be way worse off than they were before they even went on the diet, because they're going to crash so hard. So go on a diet that's reasonable. And the ketogenic diet can, that it's very good for more extreme cases. People have epilepsy, that sort of thing. It helps out and does a tremendous job. But, there's athletes that say that they see a tremendous benefit of being on the ketogenic diet, but it just really all depends. Most people, I could know them for 5 minutes and be like, yeah, you're not going to be able to stick to that. So don't go on a diet that's going to set you up for failure. But should you follow the ketogenic diet? If you can, try it out for a couple weeks, see how you do. Absolutely. The next question is, how can I get greater focus in college? So this is something that was really important to me at one time. There was a time where I was taking boards. I would take, 6 board tests over a 2-day period, and each test was about an hour and a half long. And then after that, I would do that on a Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever the case was. And then that next week in school, I would have like eight exams. I basically have 2 exams a day, every single day, depending on my schedule. And so having a greater focus is really, really important. And it's something that I struggled with immensely. So if you want to have a greater focus in college, first of all, make sure you're getting the sleep that you're supposed to be getting. Make sure that and that means that like a consistent 8 hours a night, whatever you need, that maybe it's a consistent 7 hours, whatever it is, make sure it's consistent, make sure you're getting it. Make sure your diet's right. We were just talking about a ketogenic diet. Follow a high fat, moderate protein, low carb diet. You don't have to be crazy strict as if you're trying to put your body in a state of ketosis, but that's certainly going to help. That fat, your brain is 70% plus fat. So, that much, you're going to need the fats. You're going to want to make sure that you're taking and eating a decent amount of fat. So taking a good supplement. So for instance, I have the NeuroBoost supplement that was designed, just to help people on a daily basis. It's meant to be a daily supplement that you take. It's got the DHA in it. It's got the omega-3, 6, 9. It's got the good fats in it. So you can do that as well. Make sure your diet's good and clean. Make sure you're getting sleep. Make sure you're supplementing properly. And then also, some big things that are really important when it comes to being in college is to really get your focus right. Like, there's a million things going on. When you go to study, turn the cell phone off. Don't start wandering on Facebook. Let as little things into your head as possible, because that way you can really focus on the important things. So let's say there's tons of stimulus out there. You want to shut as much of that down so that these things aren't just wandering around in your head and you're just focusing on like that chemistry that you're studying or whatever it is. You can just really hone in on that. And then, that's for a college student, but the same thing goes for anybody in the workforce or, any entrepreneur trying to accomplish something. The next question is, I'm not able to lose weight despite a great amount of dieting and exercise. What should I do? If you're in that case where you're truly on a really good diet and you're truly exercising and you're not able to lose weight, there's a bigger problem there. And it's one of those things where it's like, this just isn't your fault. This is a hormone problem. And so, really when it comes to this, you need to go through a detox process. You need to get your body right. You need to get your hormones balanced, and you really need to get healthy. I see it a lot where, women who are eating a good diet and exercising, they can't lose weight no matter how much they try. And a lot of people will look at them and say, and I say women, the same goes for men. A lot of people will look at them and say, they must be snacking at some point, or maybe they're eating some junk food and not telling somebody about it. But no, this is it's not your fault type of case, because it happens to a lot of women. There's a lot of hormone imbalance out there. There's a lot of thyroid issues out there. And, the best thing you can do here is, work on balancing hormones. Some of the tests that we actually offer in New Vision Health Center are specifically designed for balancing hormones, and if your body's not hearing hormones such as leptin, which is what is telling your body to burn fat, if that's not happening, then you're not going to burn fat properly. So you got to get your hormones right, and you got to make sure that you're also eating a diet that is designed to balance your hormones, right? So a lot of women are jumping on, and I keep saying women because it's typically women who come to me with this type of issue. They're jumping on some type of fad diet, like the Atkins or the South Beach or all these different forms of dieting, and they aren't good quality diets that show you how to live a good lifestyle. They're diets that, well, if you're really strict and you follow it while you're on that particular diet, you can do all right. But they're as soon as you quit the diet, you just get derailed and you start gaining a ton of weight back and everything else. And plus the diets, they're designed in cases to lose weight, but not balance hormones, which could, in this case, is a very big issue. So follow a diet that is going to help balance issues, considering doing some tests in order to look at your hormone levels, and I guess reach out for further help. And we could talk about this topic right here for an hour, but just to give you some basic information on that, really look to balancing hormones in this case. All right, so the next question is, my job causes me a lot of stress and I'm worried about my heart health. My dad died at 52, and to kind of just sum it up, the person's very concerned about having a heart attack just like their dad did. So I think this is a very legitimate concern. And the reason I say that is because according to the CDC, 1 out of every 2 people die of a heart-related problem. You're probably thinking to yourself at this point, well, you got to die of something. But I'm not talking about someone that's 105 years old or someone who's 90 years old that is dying of a heart-related problem. I'm talking about, people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, even 70s having heart disease, heart attacks, and just dropping dead. And so, it's a very legitimate concern. And, a lot of people come to me and they have gotten their heart tested on a regular basis because they are concerned about it. And the problem is what they'll tell me is that, I went to my doctor, he tested my heart, my cholesterol is fine. But I just don't feel right, or I just don't really trust it. And, like this person said, my dad had heart problems. I'm concerned about having the same problems. And so, when it comes to testing to look at the health of the heart, you can't just look at the cholesterol. That's an old method of looking at heart health, right? There's so many people who look at the cholesterol, they say, oh, I'm fine, or they try to, base the health of their heart on the cholesterol. in looking at just the HDL and LDL. So that's really an old method of looking at your heart health. So the new method is taking a test that looks at many different parameters, many different markers, and takes an in-depth look at the overall cardiovascular system and heart so that you can really know what's going on. I have so many people that tell me, yeah, I'm healthy because my doctor said my cholesterol is fine, and I take a test on them, and the LP(a), which is considered the alpha wolf of heart markers, it's just off the charts. It's an inflammatory marker in the heart. It's just off the charts. And people who have a high amount of LP(a), they have a high correlation with stroke. So, you got to first of all run the right test. I mean, that's the best information I can give you is run the right test. I mean, if you don't have the data to fix something, I always tell people you can't manage what you can't measure. So if you don't have the data, what are you going to fix? Now, of course, just like anything else we talked about, making sure you're on the proper diet, making sure you're exercising and giving your heart a workout every day is important as well. Now, if your heart's in bad shape, it might be a good idea to look into fixing that before you go and jump into some hardcore workouts or something like that. Get your heart functioning properly first and get yourself on the path to better health. But, making sure that you're getting the exercise, the basic foundational supplementation, a good whole food diet. As far as supplementation, you can jump on the New Vision Excel website. You can look at what I have for foundationals, the supplements that I created in order to offer people a good, high quality, really decent priced foundational supplement. You can look at what we have and base and just go from there basically. But it's definitely a legitimate concern, and everybody should be concerned about their heart health, and especially if you're part of the aging population. All right, the next question is I've been burned out lately, and how should I motivate myself to keep pushing forward? So this is a good question because, when you say burnt out, I don't really know what that means. Like you just don't have any drive, or maybe your adrenals are fried and you just don't have any energy. So I'm going to kind of hit it at both angles, I guess. So first of all, if your adrenals are burnt out, same thing. You can't manage what you can't measure. Go ahead, run a test on your adrenals and see how they're functioning. It's something that we offer here as well. So check out your adrenals in that way. Now, to support your adrenals, taking some good quality adaptogenic herbs is going to help tremendously. So some ashwagandha, rhodiola, that sort of thing. Taking these different adaptogenic herbs in synergy with each other will even have a greater effect on helping restore your adrenals and balance, your cortisol levels and so on and so forth. But, if you're not, if you're just not motivated because you just don't feel like working, I guess, or you're just, I don't know, maybe you're just not happy in life. But one of the things that you can do is actually start always creating a plan, always creating goals, and then working that plan, executing that plan in order to achieve those goals. I find that it's really important to write down what your plan is for the week so that you have something to work towards. If you're just kind of going at your week and just shooting off in every direction and just, taking on whatever comes your way, then, it can be a little bit tough. You can kind of just get lost somewhere throughout the week. But if you have something that has clear goals and things that you need to accomplish by a certain time frame and a certain date, then you're going to be more apt to actually complete those goals. It works very well, and some of the best entrepreneurs and executives that I know, they're at the beginning of every week, they're writing down their goals, they're writing down the tasks that they need to accomplish. They are writing down appointments that they have. Start creating a schedule for yourself. You need to have a schedule and then work your schedule. And I think between, if just looking at it from those two parameters, I think you're going to find yourself getting more energy, being more excited about what you're doing, and of course loving what you're doing is important too. I think I have a lot of energy for what I do because I love what I do, and I can wake up and have energy to keep doing the same thing every day and really enjoying it because I really love what I'm doing. So make sure you love what you're doing as well. That's important. The next question is, my neck hurts while sitting at the desk. I work on a computer all day. Is there a supplement that can help with this? As far as supplements go, I wouldn't really say that there's going to be a supplement that's going to fix your neck from hurting because you're working at a desk all day. What you can do if you are looking for a supplement is you can look to a glucosamine supplement. That is something that we have because I work with a lot of people who complain about this sort of thing. So you can look at a glucosamine. You can look at the glucosamine supplement, which is part of the foundationals on the New Vision Excel. But really, what you need to focus on, and it's more important than anything, if your neck is hurting, is because you're working at a computer, is your posture and how you're sitting at that computer, right? I mean, most people are sitting in a very poor quality chair all day. It doesn't fit them right. Your leg should be in a certain position. Your arm should be a certain position. Your head should not be pasted to the computer screen. You should be sitting upright with your head over your shoulders, not forward. I guarantee you're sitting with a very, very poor posture while you're sitting at your computer. I guarantee it. So the first thing that you need to address is your posture in your chair that you're sitting in. So fix that, and then you will, your neck pain will most likely go away. Now, if you're still having neck pain with that, by all means, you need to get to, a healthcare professional, such as a chiropractor, that can work on possibly some issues that you're having. Because, one of the things is that in the period of time, let's say, everybody was working in the, an industrial job where they were working at the, line at Ford, or they were working building cars and doing really hard lifting jobs, there was a big issue with everybody's low backs going out. Now, because everybody's on computers all day, there's a big issue with everybody's neck just being destroyed, their lower neck, right? And the reason for that is because their cervical curve is lost, and their whole structure is just shifted, and it's a disaster. So what you need to do is focus on your posture first of all, and then go from there. Make sure you're sitting up straight at your computer. You can go find some diagrams online that will offer, and maybe we can put it actually in the show notes, some diagrams that will show you how to sit at a computer properly so that everything is aligned well. And that should help you out tremendously just with that alone. The next question is, I don't have time to exercise. How can I fast track my way to a more toned body and lose some weight? So, if you don't have time to, first of all, you just have to make it a priority. People that I know that exercise, they love to exercise, and, once they get into it, they can't get enough of it. But, I know some of the busiest people in the world, and they still make time for exercising. So first, make it a priority. If it's not a priority for you, make sure it's a priority, and make sure that you're setting time for it. You're scheduling it in your day. Like, if it's not a priority and it just fits in your day whenever you get a chance to do it, then there's a good chance that you're not going to do it, because there's going to always be something more important or better to do. So put it on your schedule. Exercising should be part of your schedule. And then if you want to fast track it, because I'm fully aware that there's people out there who don't have an hour to go exercise or something like that. They might only have 25 minutes. You can do a hell of an exercise routine in 25 minutes. And the way that you're going to do that is through the HIIT training, the Tabata training, that sort of thing. I believe it's episode 7 in this podcast series, but I literally did a whole podcast on it. So jump back into that podcast number 7 and listen to it. And I gave a bunch of tips on it and talk about why it's really important to even train that way in the first place. So jump back and listen to that. It's really good material, and that's where you're gonna want to be. I work out all the time and only have a half hour or 25 minutes or whatever, and I'm gonna tell you, you can do a workout that will put you to the breaking point of exhaustion in 25 minutes. You're just working really hard during that time, and that's perfectly okay. You're better off going to the gym and working out really hard for 25 minutes than staying there for an hour and a half just putzing around, right? So that's what my suggestion is for you. And then the last question is, what is your favorite lab test to do on people right now? That's an interesting question, because I don't know. I would say, I didn't really think about it a lot, but I would say my favorite lab test is a lab test that the person needs to get well. So, everybody I work on, I do a history on, I determine what they really need to get well. And I do lab tests based on that. But I'd say one of the really cool lab tests, and probably a lab test that's just saving a lot of people's lives right now is back to the heart test that we run here at New Vision. The heart test is incredible because it's looking at your body's power source. It's looking at your cardiovascular system, right? So I would say that's probably, if I had to pick a favorite, then it would be that one. But more so, my favorite test is the test that's going to get somebody well. And, you can see all the lab tests that we offer here at New Vision. It's you can go right on the website and click on the lab test and read about them and all that. But yeah, the heart test is incredible. I mean, it literally, without a doubt, it saves lives, without a doubt. And so that would be my favorite test to offer somebody, and that's because it's going to save their life. Okay, now if we were going to break that down even further, let's say aging population and younger population, I would say aging population, one of my favorite tests to go and run is the heart test. And that's because, like I said, it's going to save your life. If you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, that sort of thing, like, it's going to be important to take a peek at that. And you don't know the problem that you have until you actually run the test. It's one of those situations where you don't know what you don't know. You need the data in order to get a plan and to even know if you're having a heart concern or you have a heart concern on the horizon. Now, for the younger population, let's say 20, 25, 30 years old, maybe some mothers, who have had a couple kids, one of my favorite tests, I would say, for these people is a micronutrient test. Now, once again, my favorite test is the test that's really going to move the needle and get them well, but I'm just throwing it out there. The micronutrient test is looking at your nutrient levels. Like I said, a lot of mothers, they're depleted in different nutrients because they had children, and then just a lot of individuals because of eating a poor diet growing up or whatever, they're depleted of different nutrients, and these nutrients are the fuel system to your body. So you could be having some simple skin condition or something that is driving you insane, or you could have a lack of energy, and then when you take this test, it will go and show you basically every nutrient in your body and what levels you have of that nutrient. And so if you are depleted in that nutrient, you're going to have the conditions that depletion of that nutrient cause. Let's say vitamin A, for instance. That causes an immense amount of eye issues. It's related to the health of your overall, to your sight and everything. So, if you have a huge deficiency of vitamin A, you could have a lot of sight issues, just to throw an example out there. But of course, the best test is the test that's going to get somebody well. You too can have your questions answered on Excel Radio by going to newvisionexcel.com and clicking on the podcast button and submitting your question. Be sure to check out our brand new website, newvisionexcel.com. It's fully revamped and offers you more value than ever before.
If you want more information to multiply your health and simplify your lifestyle, visit our website at excelpodcast.com. Until next time, have an outstanding day.